Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Provocative Podcast. All right, guys, so I have I thought I had a short intro, but then I was thinking about something I wanted to say. So let's do the intro, and then we'll get into today's topic. So first off, I don't know what it was about today, but I'm just really missing my family. As many of you guys know, Chris and I live in Houston. We have no family here. So it's typically just me and him and our friends. Thankfully, we build good relationships with friends, but I really do miss my family. And then there are days that are really, really hard, and I feel like I'm missing all those little moments. My sister sent me a TikTok where it's like when your dad comes home at the end of the day, like really late after work, and you guys have all eaten, and he's just sitting at the dinner table eating by himself. And I just like got so sad because I feel like I'm missing all these moments. I feel like I'm missing moments with my niece, like just little moments, like seeing her crawl and like seeing her mad and just all these little things. And I just kind of got in my feelings today. And so if you are close to your family and you are living with them, even though I know that family can drive you insane sometimes, just appreciate that. Appreciate being able to come home to your parents. Appreciate the little things, because once you are away, it sucks. It really does. And it takes more of a toll on me than it does on Chris. But I'm just missing them extra hard today. So hug your loved ones for me today. And if you are like me, living far away from your family, just know that it is hard. There are some days that are harder than others. But, what I try to do is just FaceTime them as much as possible. And whenever I'm thinking about them, letting them know that I'm thinking about them. So, yeah, guys, that was today. Anyways, I finally signed up for the first 5K of this 5K race for me this year. It'll be at the end of this month. So your girl has to train because I'm trying to balance out running plus lifting plus spin, and it's been kind of hard. So last week I ran 2 times a week, plus I did a spin class, 2 spin classes, plus I trained 5 days a week. So I'm just trying to find the balance. I might have to end up giving up 1 day of spin and doing just once a week for spin and just focus more on the running, because obviously I want to do well at the race. I'm not saying I want to come in first, but I do want to do well and not die and not like be like my first race ever and crying at the finish line with a fucking side stitch. So I finally signed up for it. It's the 30th of this month. If you're in Houston and you would like to run this race with me, it's actually me and Brittany are running it together. Please DM me. I think it would be so cool for all of us to run that race together. And like I said, you don't have to, me and Brittany probably won't run the same times, and that's okay. You don't have to be an excellent runner, but if you would like to run the race with us, I think it would be great. It's a Saturday morning at 10:30. I'll send you guys a link over on Instagram. So reach out to me. As you guys know, my personal Instagram is _JazzyFit. But I think it would be so cool. And if it's something you've been wanting to do or try out, this is a great time because you could do it together. So, and then also I ended up starting the book, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and it's actually really good. So we have our first book meeting this Friday, and I have a lot of catching up to do on reading wise, but I'll finish until the half of the book on Friday. But it's so far so good. It's very different from all the love books that I've been reading. It's very interesting to see this female point of view, and like she kind of is empowering in the way of like how she's been able to get famous. It's just really cool. Like she's pretty savage, which is like you got to have like a pretty not so light heart to be kind of a savage in this in the world that she's in. But it's really good so far. I really enjoy the book. I'll let you guys know what I think about it obviously when I finish it, but it's one of the top ones that I got on IG recommended, and it's just been recommended. So if you guys want to read it. And yeah, guys, I think that's it for my intro. I actually have Chris as my guest today.
What's up?
Do you want to do an intro or anything? Talk about prep?
No, same. Struggling a little bit more. Cardio got bumped, but my food also got bumped. So before I was starving with like a couple 0 days. 0 days mean like 0 carbs, but we got a little bit more food now. Cardio got bumped, but I think I'm feeling a little bit better than I was last week.
Yeah. I feel like you're looking better too.
And as of, I guess from the time this vlog gets released, I'll be almost 4 weeks out. So it's less than a month away from my first show.
Yeah. Wait, this Saturday is 5 weeks out, no? Or 4?
No, 4.
Oh my God, it's getting there.
28 days.
28 days.
We almost there. But that's just the first show. So this, my season could go all the way out to possibly July.
Yeah.
Just kind of depending on how things work out.
The first show is in Irving, Texas?
No, Arlington.
Arlington. If you're in Arlington and you want to come support, come and support. You can sit next to me. We can support the hubby. But yeah, dang, baby, 28 days. Oh, that's exciting. I forget because I'm not in it. So I just forget. I'm like, damn. Okay. All right. So today's topic is going to be about bad guys. And what I mean is just, bad guys, bad people in the world. And not necessarily bad. It's just people who end up hurting you along the way of your life. And I'm more of an emotional person. Chris is more of a logical person. So that is the reason I wanted him to come on, because he has some really good insight when it comes to this topic, because I've gotten hurt in the past and I'll be so emotional and then he'll come at me in a logical way, and it makes me feel better because it makes me see things in a different way, and it makes me not get so caught up in the emotion side of everything. So we're going to talk about this. And, I went through a situation when I first moved to Houston, and then with recent events, I've had people go through certain situations. We've gone through certain situations, and I just want to talk about it because I know a lot of people are probably struggling, and at least at some point in your life, you have struggled with this. And, it's not about one specific person, because the last thing I want to do is give anyone a platform on here. I'm not trying to talk shit about anyone specifically, but I do want to talk about just people in general who fall into this category. So, all right, let's get into it. So, personally, I went through a really hard time when I moved here to Houston. Coming from, I guess, the South, I never really dealt with mean people. I stayed I had a small group of friends, didn't have a lot of friends. And then I started dating Chris, and it was just mostly me and Chris and close family friends. And so I didn't really go through a lot of heartbreak friends or see really evil sides of people. I think I did once, and then I just kind of got over it. But when I moved here, you see what you see on social media is so different than what is people are actually like. And especially when you move here into, I moved into a place that was more influencer friendly. You get to meet all these influencers that you follow. You realize that not everyone is the way that they seem on social media. And it was just really hard to get used to different personalities. And so, I got hurt when I first moved here because I'm just an open book. I wear my heart, or I used to wear my heart on my sleeve. And it would just cause me to get hurt really quick. And it would really take a toll on my emotions and my energy. And that first year I had to Chris was working too. So I was alone a lot. And I really had to just kind of, I guess, build a thicker skin, right, babe? I just feel like I had to. Well,
yeah, you learned how to handle situations better.
Yeah. So, so I went through a really hard time, and I'm sure you guys have too. You meet people, or you meet a person, and you quickly, for some reason, build this bond with them without really getting to know them. And then something happens, and you're like, holy crap, how is this person? How could this person do this to me? I have no idea. And you're kind of shocked and thrown back, but it happens. And so, I wanted to talk about bad guys. And what I mean by this is people who put on a certain face for you, and then that happens and you realize you're how the hell was this person this way? Or how could this person do this to me? And so I'm going to go into that. The first thing is, when it comes to bad guys, they know how to they play dirty, right? So, meaning most of us play by the rules. We have this trusting personality where you want to trust everyone that you meet, and you expect that everyone is as honest with you as you are with them. And what ends up happening is that these people end up feeding off your honesty and aren't really being honest with you. So they see your honesty as weakness. They're okay, well, this person's they already have an intention with you. And so you're probably over here expressing who you really are, and you're honest, and you think that these people are being honest with you, but they're really they're really not. Do you have anything to say to that?
Well, I think no matter who you are, if you're a good person or a bad person, there's always some sort of intention with people.
Yeah.
So for you, most of the time, I'm speaking on Jasmine's behalf. Yeah. Jasmine always her intention is to always be friendly, establish an emotional connection, and just kind of like be real with people. But you have to realize that there's some people whose intention is just to see how they could use you, how they could leverage you, what benefit you could provide for them.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that you didn't realize that people did coming from a small town, because in small town, honestly, most people aren't looking to level up or looking to get further in their social media, whatever it may be. So you didn't have to experience that until you moved to Houston.
Yeah.
So that was an eye opener for you, because you didn't realize that people were going to use you in that way.
Yeah. And I mean, by honesty, Chris is completely right. Like, like he said, like when you're in a small town, I think out of all our friends and everyone we were surrounded with, we were the only ones who were doing what we were doing.
Yeah, trying to level up. And we were getting made fun of, so it's not like it's not like people really even looked up to us at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just the way that you were raised. I know. Let me just speak on my behalf. I know that since from middle school, I really didn't fit into any circle. My parents, tried dressing me as good as possible, so I was always wearing like Hollister and Abercrombie, which back then was popping, guys.
Yeah,
like, that was or at least in the South, that was the brand. That was the brand to have.
My parents could not afford Abercrombie.
So like for the Hispanics in my school, I was too white, and for the white people in my school, I was too Mexican. So I didn't fit in anywhere. So I kind of from middle school, I kind of just figured out, oh, I'm just better off by myself. I got to figure out how to do things by myself. So I kind of carried that out through high school. And I feel like maybe for you, I don't know, we haven't really talked about it too much, but I feel like, yeah, you were an outsider, but people always accepted you, like because you were the pretty girl, because you were good at school, and then you got into sports, and then they kind of accepted you. Like even though I was in sports, I was still always kind of by myself. Like I trained by myself. I had my own workouts. Like, I don't know, I just never fit in, and I kind of feel like you fit in a little bit better. So I feel like the way that I interpret things logically kind of started since middle school.
Yeah.
I didn't let people affect me because I didn't have people in my life, really.
But then you had friends in high school.
I had friends that I hung out with, but I always knew where I stood with them, because amongst that friend group, they were a lot closer than I was they were a lot closer amongst themselves than I was with any of them in that group.
Yeah, and I can see that, because I think there were more partiers, drinkers, and you were never, which is crazy, guys. His parents really gave him a lot of freedom at a young age, and you were around drinking and stuff like that, but you were never like interested in that. So I think that was like you were an outsider in that group in a sense too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I wouldn't say I fit in, but I did have friends. And so I wasn't like by myself all the time, or I wasn't a great athlete like you were, who had, to train by myself, or, I just kind of I would jump around in different friend groups. Like, so in like AP classes, I would be with the smart kids, and they accepted me. And my running and for cross country, I was in like my little group. And so like, yeah, I did have little groups. I wasn't too much of an outsider, because I did fit in those groups. But yeah, guys, for me, it was just really hard, and it was just a learning experience for me. Like, I think this is a time that I learned, like, you don't have to change how honest you are with people, but you need to get better at reading people. Like, see who they really are. See and ask questions. See how they answer your questions, and see how they interact with other people. Are they polite to other people? Do they talk about their friends? Do they talk shit about their friends? I think more than anything, this was a learning lesson as to how to read people and interpret what, like Chris said, their intentions were, because, sometimes you get blindsided and your gut's telling you like, no, this is a bad person, and you're just kind of like, no, it's not. I want to give him a chance. And this is how I used to be. And then it would bite me in the ass. So now I've gotten really good at reading people and listening to my gut about people. And I've actually been right about a lot of people because of this. Example, something like Chris and I were just talking about with, my family friends and like my parents' friends. And so like, I'm really good at telling people, hey, this person gives me a bad vibe. And they're like, oh, I don't know why you see it that way. 3 months later, I'm on the phone and they're like, hey, this person's shitty ass person. I'm like, yeah, because you haven't learned to read people and you haven't broken that pattern of you giving in and not listening to your gut. Listen to your gut. Break the pattern. Wait to let people in because, like Chris said, not everyone has the same intention.
And like Jasmine's referring to 3 months. Just I don't know. I think we've mentioned this before, but we
planning on mentioning it.
Yeah, we had a mentor, or we have a mentor. We just haven't gotten with him recently. His name's Anil. Shout out to Anil if you're listening to this. Probably not, but whatever. So he told us it takes around 3 months for a person to show you their true colors and what their true intentions is. And to be honest, it kind of has played out almost to the dot every single time.
The fucking dot.
So before you let yourself get completely involved in someone and spill all your secrets and, trust them with your emotional baggage, give it about 3 months, maybe in some cases a little bit more, just to see who this person really is.
Yeah. No, I think that was the best advice I've ever gotten in my life. And I've given it to my friends and they all like Heba. She was like, I've been living by this since you told me and it's made a huge change in my life. But yeah, like typically it takes 3 months to get to know a person and it's just played out.
Yeah, because anyone could act like someone else, but
after like the 3 months.
But after 3 months, it gets kind of hard acting like that person. They start showing their true intentions, their true colors. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people switch in 3 months, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, anyways, just listen to your gut and, don't get too comfortable right away. Make sure that you ask these people questions. You evaluate people, you observe people. I'm a big observer and, I take my time with people and sometimes that can come off as bitchy or she's not trying to let me in, but I'm sorry. Like I've worked so hard on my energy that I really have to see your true colors for me to let you in and feel comfortable because right now with everyone that I surround myself with, I feel good. I don't want to have to go somewhere and protect and be quiet and feel some sort of way. If I'm surrounding myself with you, it's because I can be my true self with you. And I feel like the intentions are true with anyone I'm with. But anyways, number 2, bad guys understand power dynamics and abuse it. So with any job, like, in corporate, same thing, like you try to use people, you're trying to get into the inner circle to level up. And it's the same with, social media. You try to, make friends with people with obviously more following or with company who has a company and you're trying to learn from them. To some degree, it's okay. You want to be surrounded with people who are going to level you up, who are going to inspire you, who are going to motivate you, right? And Chris and I did that when we first moved. We surrounded ourselves with people who motivated us and we could learn from them. And we were so grateful. And at that time, and even now, if we're surrounding with people, it's because they're leveling us up. But we don't have an intention. We don't have a planner saying, we're going to hang out with this person because this person's going to help us get to this person and this person's going to help us with this. So our way of, being around people who are more successful than us and can help us level up is more on like, yes, we are helping ourselves, but if we can do something to help that person, we will do that too because we don't have an agenda. The thing that's different is some people have an agenda. Some people have malintentions to why they're hanging out with you or why they're wanting to spend time with you, right?
Yeah, but I think kind of the prompt that you just said is that bad people abuse. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true. If you're abusing it, then obviously, you're using it for the wrong reasons. You have malintentions. But, in this world now where we're at, you have to leverage people based on their abilities, based off of their assets, based off of what social, like how they could get your, your networking, like who they could get you in touch with. That's something that has to be done. Yeah. So it doesn't make you a bad person for using people, not using people, but what would be a better word? For using the skill set that they provide. Right. Is not a bad thing. However, it becomes a bad thing when, like you said, I'm going to make friends with Jasmine because she knows so-and-so, and then I'm going to drop Jasmine, and then that's when it becomes bad. Yes. But, you need to make your circle bigger. Winners win. Winners make winners. Right. So you want to surround yourself with people who are doing better than you, that have better knowledge than you in some sort of field, whatever field it is that you're trying to get into, because that's just necessary. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, yeah. So I don't think it makes you a bad person to do those things. It's the intention that you have behind
That's what I'm
it.
saying. It's the intention behind. yeah, behind it. So it's like Chris said, because we've run across people like that, and more so recently. And it's like when I hear about what their intention was, I'm like, how can someone be that way? And they actually express these intentions.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're fucking retarded. Why would you say that? You look dumb. And if that person's listening to you, that's a fucking red flag. Like, oh, I'm using so-and-so because then I can get to so-and-so, and then I can like really, then I can drop them because honestly they get on my nerves, but then that'll get me in the foot in the door with so-and-so. And I'm like, who has intentions like that? Like, I mean, there are people, that's what I'm saying. There are people like that. And that's what's making you bad. But it's not a bad thing, like you said, to level up and to want to surround yourself with people who have something that you obviously don't have. But
yeah. So, I mean, I've told you this before, you know, your circle is kind of a sign of who you are as a person. And I've always believed that. Like, I've never wanted people who weren't driven, who weren't ambitious, who weren't trying to do some sort of move to make more money, to get better, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I think the saying is like, you are the average of the top 5 people in your circle, which honestly, like, we need to do a little bit more networking, because we had been part of circles and for some reason we got not kicked out, but we kind of just got pushed to the side. So we need to kind of expand our circle to integrate some new skill sets. But I mean, our circle is pretty strong. Everyone in our circle, you know, is trying to level up in some way. You know, they're making moves, they're getting better, they're earning more income, living a better lifestyle, which is what you want in your life. You don't want anyone that's being stagnant or complacent.
Right.
Not saying you can't be friends with them, but these people in your circle are the ones that you're dealing with almost on a daily or a weekly basis. And those are the ones that are going to influence your lifestyle, the decisions you make, and, you know, ultimately lead you to whatever your future may be.
Yeah. I think for me, Chris is more on a logical sense, because for me, like, it's not that we the circles that
let me ask you this, because I think I know where you're going with this. You have girlfriends who are caught up in drama. Does that affect you?
Yes.
So therefore, because they are in your circle, and I'm thinking of maybe two, 3 girls in your circle that constantly messaging you, calling you, hey, this drama just happened. That affects the decisions you're making. It affects the energy of your day. So that's what I just said is completely true, as opposed to if these girls were like, hey, I just found this business opportunity, what do you think?
Right.
That's going to drive you to make, oh shit, I need to step up because she's doing this. What can I be doing?
Yeah.
When's the last time you thought about that whenever you got off the phone with these girls?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not where I was going with.
Oh,
but
well,
that's a good
That's
point.
a good tangent then.
No, it's a good point. I completely agree with you. And this is why I've told you that I want to network. I want to make different connections, but
it's hard. It's also hard with
like,
our lifestyle, because honestly, I spend a whole lot of fucking time in the gym and then a lot of time at home working and just eating.
Well, and it's hard with our, like, where are we going to go network? We'd have to go with like business people and like, you know, corporate people, because it's hard to network with influencers, because this is where I was going for. I'm not a kiss ass, and you know that.
Okay.
And sometimes I have a hard time with that.
But there's a difference between being a kiss ass and just being social. And I've already told you this. Like, at the end of the day, okay, maybe you're going to talk about this later, but everyone loves getting their ass kissed.
No, I know.
I don't care who you are. If you're Jasmine, if you're me, I kind of don't do too well with praise. But at the end of the day, you want to hear how great you are. You want to hear about how awesome the moves you're making are. You're going to keep those people in your circle.
Yeah, but
and that's why they keep coming up on people. That's why they stay around. That's why they get moved up.
And that's why we, like when you said we've gotten pushed out of groups, it's not that we've gotten pushed out of groups, is that I have a hard time kissing ass. I'm not a kiss asser. I'm not going to kiss your fucking ass. Like,
but also, how good of a friend are you? Because there's so many times where you're not following up with people. You're not touching base with them.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? How's your business doing? How's your family doing? There's a lot of times we've been kicked out because those kind of things aren't happening either.
Yeah, no, I know. But that's from both sides. It's not just for me.
I'm not a good social person. I know the things that need to be done, but I'm just not good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're doing social, then I'm the one that has to step up. Like, I really do, because Chris is not.
What I can provide, you're supposed to fill in.
Yeah, right.
But back to the social thing. So back to networking. You know, the biggest thing that I think has kind of helped the way that I'm looking at things is, if someone has something that you want or is doing something that you want to do, find out where they hang out. Like for me personally, there's car meets almost every weekend. And at these car meets, there's people driving $500,000 cars.
Yeah.
That's a pretty dang good spot to network. Figure out what they do. Figure out if they could help you. Figure out if you could help them.
Yeah.
Add them to your IG. Comment on their stuff. You'll eventually slide into each other's DMs, whatever it may be. And your circle just got a little bit bigger, a little bit better.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I know where you're coming from with me. I think like with me, I could do a better job because, you know, sometimes I do tell you like, oh, I want to make my circle bigger and like network with other girls. But it's hard for me, guys. I'm very closed off and I'm trying to do better. But it's hard for me to give people chances because I've been hurt. And so sometimes I'm like, you know, I want, you know, to network, but I'm scared that their intention isn't right, or, you know, it's just, it's scary. And I know that I need to do a better job with letting people in and networking because I do want my circle to be bigger in the sense of leveling up. I want to have friends who are going to push me to that next level because I don't want to be the top performer in my friend group. You don't want to be the top performer in your friend group because then what? Then you're not motivated. The top performer needs someone to motivate them. And I feel like, you know, we are at that point where it's like we need someone to push us to, not push us because we push ourselves to the next level, but to, you know, help push us to the next level. And so, yeah, I think everyone could do a better job. I need to do a better job, but for sure. But, you know, and I get what you're saying. Like, you know, I just, with you know, our friend groups and stuff, I just have a really hard time kissing ass. Like, I just don't like that. And that's why we ended up doing our own thing. And, you know, just, it's part of it. But, you know, I see where Chris is like, well, you do have to kiss a little bit of ass, Jasmine. That's how the game is. And it's just me, you know, having to get over that. But I don't know. I always want to say my true authentic self. And I just, you know, I give people praise when I feel like they needed to be praised. But I just feel like there's a difference between, you know, with social media, girls like kiss ass to these other girls with bigger following because why? Obviously they want to be mentioned in their story. They want to do collabs. And I get that, but and I know that that's a good thing for them because they end up getting ahead, but I just don't like doing it. Yes, would it benefit me? Of course. But it's just hard for me to do that. But all right. Anyways, things to do to get you out of this state of, you know, bad people. So focus on yourself. The more you focus on the bad guy winning and how to get back at them, the more energy you're putting into that, right?
Yeah, kind of like what we said earlier.
Yeah, so focus on yourself. I know bad people do shit to you. There's shitty people in the world, they do shit to you. But the more you focus on them and what they're doing, the more energy you're putting into that and the less energy you're putting into yourself. So focus on yourself and how you can level up.
Yeah, so that kind of goes, that's kind of like a topic in the 7 Habits of Successful People, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I forget the title, but it's like, there's a couple circles in your life. There's a circle of concern, which is things that bother you, but you really don't have control of. You shouldn't really spend too much energy on that.
Yeah.
And then there's the circle of control, which is the actual things that you have an impact on, like you could fix. That's where you need to put your energy in. So a lot of the times, bad guys are doing things that, they get you mad. They might piss you off, and they said this, they said that. And you could probably talk shit back, but what's that really going to fix? It's not going to fix anything. So instead, put your energy towards something different, like getting better, leveling up. You could redirect that energy into something positive instead of just talking negative and not really accomplishing much.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's like, I want you to tell them what you told me yesterday.
Oh, God. What did I say yesterday?
Oh, okay. About how I asked you because, you know, I have a platform, guys, and sometimes, I get caught up in the drama and I want to speak up, but it's like what he just said. If you speak up and you're talking drama back to these people, what are you really fixing here? And I'm like, well, nothing. Exactly. So he was like, exactly. You're not fixing anything. You're not doing anything constructive because it's going to be a he said, she said kind of conversation. And then you're just going to be caught up in drama that's not any of your concern. So it's not about you not speaking up. It's, okay, what can you do to help that friend out, or what can you do that has a positive impact? So it's like what Chris said, like there's certain things that, you know, there's literally nothing you can do about except like waste your energy, get mad, say shit back, but what is that really fixing? It's not going to change that person. You're not going to be able to change that person. You're not going to fix anything by just feeding into more drama. So what can you do? What can you put your energy into to make you better? So I think that was a good example that you gave. Number 2, realize that people are interchangeable and so are you. I think this is something everyone has to accept. Everyone's interchangeable. You can drop anyone in a heartbeat and they can drop you in a heartbeat. And sometimes you serve that person's purpose. Like you served your purpose in that person's life and you just have to accept that. And yeah, I mean, same with other people. Sometimes it's not that you're done with that person, but there's just
people change.
The roles
in your life and the role they played in your life change.
Yeah.
And I mean, at some point you either drop them or you just, they're not too relevant in your life anymore.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
And you just have to accept that. And you might be the same thing for a person.
Yeah,
and it's not personal. It's just the way of life. So accepting that, and that way that, people are interchangeable. You're not.
And another thing that I could add.
Yeah.
History with a person does not mean loyalty.
Yeah. What can I do for you? Okay, Siri. I think that's a really good thing to say, because I think people get caught up in, well, I've been friends with this person for X amount of years. I can't, drop them even though they're causing you so much anxiety and stress.
Exactly.
Why have those people in your life? I think, I've developed such great friendships in the last 2-3 years. And, I have friendships from a long time ago still, thankfully, but then I also have friends that I've just, we've just mellowed out. We don't talk anymore. But thankfully I haven't had a situation like this where I've been friends with someone for like 10 years and now they're shitty and they're still in my life. Thankfully we're not in that position, but we know people. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because because they're ruining the dynamic of other friendships. Yeah.
Even though, and most of the time they're aware of it, but just because, like you said, they're like, oh, longtime friend. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Realize that friendship is toxic.
Yeah, and if it is a long-term friend, have you had a conversation with that person and tell him or her how you feel? And if they don't do anything about it, then you obviously know that they don't give a shit about you. Like, because I mean, you can still communicate with the person if you're feeling some sort of way, but yeah, time doesn't mean loyalty, guys. Anyways, detach yourself with the idea that you need others and be happy with yourself and what you bring to your own table. And if you feel like you don't bring enough, work harder. And this is good. Like, detach yourself from the idea that you need other people. It's different. I obviously love Chris and I feel like I need him for our business and everything, but he's different than my friends and other people. Like, I realize that, sometimes the only person you can depend on is yourself. And, thankfully I have Chris, but the more you detach yourself from the idea that you need other people in order to be better, to be happy, the happier you'll be within yourself.
And I think even if you do get to the point where you're like getting worked up about a person, you kind of need to ask yourself, why am I allowing myself to feel this way about their actions or the things that they said? Like, why are they being so impactful in my life? And I think most of the time you could come to the conclusion that there's no reason. Like, you're just allowing yourself to feel that way because you want to. Yeah. And I think once you get to that point, you're kind of like better at letting go of the feeling. Yeah, I think
people are scared to be lonely. Like people are just, they put all this emphasis on people they can't detach themselves from that person because they're scared of being lonely, and they're scared to be by themselves because, they don't feel like they are enough. And this is where I'm saying, like, you need to level up so that you're enough.
You need to be okay with yourself, by yourself.
Yeah. So that you're not depending on other people for your happiness, and you're not depending on shitty friendships. You have yourself, you have yourself, what you bring to the table, and that should be good enough for you. It's harder said than done, guys. Harder done. What is it?
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. It takes time to love yourself and be happy with that loneliness. But once you do, you realize that everyone else is just an asset to your life, and you're happy with who you are. And then don't expect others to be like you. I think this was a big lesson for me. I expected everyone to treat me the same way that I would treat them. And it was just like, No, and even with relationships with Chris, like Chris is not me. I can't expect him to be the same way that I am with him and show me love and show me, things the same way that I show him. And it's like that for everyone. Not everyone is going to show you. You can't expect them to show you love and care the same way that you do, and you can't expect them to be a certain way. And it's funny because I just had this conversation with my friend, and I was like, hey, like, I called Aurelie, and Brenda's listening. She'll know. She'll be funny. I called Aurelie because I was on the phone with Brenda the day before. I was like, Brenda, I miss you. And she's like, yeah, so this book. And I was like, okay, love you. See you later. Okay, bye. And so I called Aurelie the next day, and I was like, dude, I'm feeling some type of way. And she's like, why? And I was like, I was on the phone with Brenda, and I really missed her. So I told her I missed her, and she just like completely dodged it. And she was cracking up. She's like, dude, that's Brenda. Like, I sent her a message about how I appreciated her and all this stuff the other day, like a long ass paragraph on Instagram. And then she replied, she's like, yeah, I'm kind of, she put like a smart ass remark. I can't remember what she said. She's like, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, some people are just like that. And that doesn't mean that Brenda doesn't love us or doesn't care for us, because she shows her love in a different way. But it's a little example for you there. But not everyone is going to be the same way that you are with them. So don't expect other people to be the same way. But that doesn't mean that you have to change who you are. Just because bad people have done shitty things to you doesn't mean you have to close off and stop being the way that you are. If anything, you just need to shift, make those changes, learn, like what we talked about, learn to read people, learn to read the energy, learn to trust your gut with those people. So it doesn't mean that you have to act a certain way. It just means you just need to be a little bit more guarded in the way that you let people in. Anything to say on that?
No, I mean, always be your true self.
Yeah.
Like you said, maybe start off a little guarded until you really know the person, but eventually your circle is going to be filled with people who actually appreciate you, who respect you, and have loyalty to you. So there's no reason to change.
Yeah.
I mean, be true to yourself. Otherwise, you're going to have people in your circle who are admiring someone that you're not.
Yeah, and then you're unhappy with who you are as a person too, and that's not a good way to live either way. And I had time with this too. I was like, fuck everyone. I'm just not gonna be nice to anyone anymore. And Chris was like, no, like, you can't change who you are, because you're gonna be unhappy being someone you're not. And so, yeah, you just have to be your true self, and people that will love you and appreciate you will be part of your circle, and learn how to read people. And then lastly, I believe what goes around comes around, and I believe in karma. And I think that you may be seeing someone succeed. You may be seeing the bad guy succeed, but you don't know what they're really going through. You don't know what it's like behind closed doors. And I eventually believe in what you put in the universe, and how you treat people will come back to you. I know some people don't believe in that.
I do not believe in karma whatsoever.
In your,
I think things just happen for a reason. We are a byproduct of the decisions that we make. There are some circumstances where shit kind of just coincidentally happens, and you're like, oh, this is karma. No, fuck that. There's a lot of shitty people out there, and at the end of the day, people suck. People are horrible. And there's drug dealers out there making millions, living life to the best of their ability, spending millions of dollars a day.
yeah.
And some of them never get caught. There's businessmen out there who are billionaires, who are crooked as hell, living lavish ass lifestyles. And you're also like, come on, there's homeless people out there who have never done a single bad thing in their life, but they're suffering every single day.
Yeah. How
does karma make sense to you in situations like that? And I mean, I know that, by my definition, I'm a pretty good person. But I've had some pretty shitty things happen to me, and there's not like any explanation for it either. And I know of shitty people in our life who are constantly getting better and better and better. Yeah. So at the end of the day, bad people can still win.
Yeah.
Bad people probably win a lot more than good people, because good people are good. They don't use people. They don't leverage people. They don't make decisions that are going to hurt someone else, while bad people are probably the better businessmen, because they're not scared to make decisions. They're not scared to hurt people to level up. And I mean, that's just the truth of life. And that's that's not karma. That's life.
Yeah. So see, this is his point of view. And I don't like to think that way, because I want to believe there's good in the world, and I want to believe there's good energy. And at least I follow this for myself, because I just feel like I would be happier thinking this way.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean, do good, but don't expect it good in return.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because that's karma is do good, receive good. But I think you should always do good no matter what comes out of it. And I mean, I think that's how we live. You know, we try helping where we can. We live good lives, I like to think. I mean, I'm not religious. I'm not gonna sit here and say I believe 100% in God, which by the way I kind of don't. But
okay, let's not say that.
That's a whole different conversation.
But no, I get where you're coming from. I mean, I do. I mean, that's how we live. I believe I put out in the universe, like last week's episode, manifesting. I manifest the fucking life that I want, and I want good energy, and I want that good, like, coming back to me. And yeah, shit happens to us sometimes too, but I don't let that affect me. But he's right. I mean, shitty stuff happens to good people. And if, you know, I know this is why he doesn't believe in karma. I mean, we just listened to the episode where that boy fucking had a miserable life. It was on Murder with My Husband, like a crime podcast, and that kid suffered his entire life. And Chris and I looked at each other and were like, how can someone from the time they were 5 to the time they were 23 have such a shitty life? And like, what did he do to deserve that? But I mean, it's what you want to believe. It's how you want to live your life and what you want to put out into the world. And for me to feel better, I believe that I'm doing good and the bad people will be taken care of at some point. And that makes me feel good.
If that makes you feel good, good.
So, anyways, that's pretty much the end of the topic. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I mean, you know, bad people are always going to win. And the only thing you could do is, you know, work hard, don't give up, and keep going. Yeah. I mean, you'll win too if you just don't ever quit. Yeah, and you just focus on yourself and just working hard. But I just wanted to talk about that. And I think Chris made some good logical points in there. And, you know, like I said, when things happen, I'm more on the emotional side. And I wish I could change that. I talked to my therapist and they're like, well, you can't wish to be more like Chris and logical because that's not your personality. That's not who you are. You can break certain patterns, but once you have these patterns in your life, it's really hard to break them. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to be an emotional person. I can just do a better job at controlling my emotions. So I just wanted to have an emotional side and a logical side to this conversation because I think Chris brought up a lot of good points. And, you know, people believe different things. You may believe in karma, you may not. But it's whatever you believe in, whatever makes you push forward in your life. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys if you listen to the full episode. I love having Chris on. Let me know if you guys like having him on. I feel like our conversations are really like easy to communicate. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. Oh,